Hello, everyone. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and yesterday I attempted to start a project which was using Spring Boot to help me learn about Java, and it didn't turn out as I was hoping. So it was significantly more complex than I was thinking. What I am going to try to do today is just restart that process. So I am going to come here. Let's see. So I am going to go to that website that it was talking to. It was telling me to go to this Spring Initializer. So at first, in the last video, I went to this location and it gave me some zip file. I didn't understand, like, okay, well, what's going on here? I then watched a video and it was telling me, okay, well, this Spring Initializer is something that allows you to essentially create the uh, file structure for your project. So I'm going to try to do that. So let's see. The first question is like, do I want to use Gradle or Maven? Should I use Gradle or Maven? Okay. So right now what I'm trying to do is just get anything to work, and then from there we can investigate. All right, well, how is it actually working? Okay, so there's a lot of differences here. Build scripts. Okay. Easy for beginners, flexible but steep learning. Okay, so we're going to be doing Maven. All right, so Maven, language Java. This is the latest stable one. Okay. Okay. So now I can do generate. Okay. Come here. All right, so now I am going to take all of this and delete it. Delete. Move to trash. Take this. Delete it. Move to trash. Source. Delete it. Move to trash. Okay, so now I have this here. I'm going to come into here. Demo 2. Okay. So now I should be able to just drag and drop this here. Okay. So now I have, okay, it's doing something good. Null annotation types have been detected in this project. Do you wish to enable null analysis of this project? Sure. I don't know. Okay, so I have this here as demo 2. Okay. So now I need to figure out, like, what did I actually do? I chose Maven and I went to the Spring IO initializer. What was this called? Spring initializer. Spring. And created a project and put that project into my VS Code. Where do I go from here? So I'm trying to figure out, how do I even run anything? Okay. So now I'm ready to start building my first Spring application. Okay, so we have demo here. I'm trying to figure out, can I delete this? This is what I created. I don't think I need this anymore. Where's delete? Where'd it go? Yeah, whatever. All right. Your project should look something like this. Let's compare it, see if it looks similar. So this is going to be very annoying. Remove folder from workspace. Yes. Okay, there we go. So I have demo here. It's called demo 2. I'm just gonna call it, should have called it something else, but whatever. It's demo, and then in the demo, I have this pom.xml and a source. But I have a whole bunch of other stuff too. So I have the pom XML. I have this, I think this means Maven right there from the video that I was watching. Okay. I have a get ignore. I have Maven up here. I have target there. And I have source here. Source main, okay. And now there's resources in Java, yep. Resources should have application properties, okay, yeah. This Java should have com example demo, and then this demo application Java. Oh, and there's already some code in there. Okay. So now, demo application Java, which is what I just opened, your main class with Spring Boot application, which I am seeing this decorator or annotation. I need to figure out what that actually means. I know it's like telling the compiler information about how to treat the class right below it, but I don't know what Spring Boot application is really indicating, but we'll figure that out. Your main class with this, okay, application properties where you can configure things like server port and database settings. Okay, so run the application. So now in VS Code, open the terminal. Good, here's terminal. And so first off, I want to figure out where I am. So pwd java 2 cd where am I? Where's demo 2? Okay. Users Timothy download. Okay, so this is within downloads. I don't think that's where I was hoping to really put this project, but that's fine. We'll leave it there for now. MVNW Spring Boot run. Okay. Okay. Build successful. Okay. Or if you're using System Maven. Okay. I should see like this. Did I see something like that? I don't know. copy and paste that in and see. Okay, create your first REST controller. So what was this? Step 2. This was for step 2. Does it look right? I ran this. Okay. So yes, it looks right. I don't know what I actually did. So downloaded all of the dependencies, compiled my code, started the embedded Tomcat server. Okay, I don't see where we did that. Launched the Spring Boot application using Java 21. Got a clean build success message. Okay. This line is the golden ticket. Started demo application in 0.3 seconds. Okay. That means your Spring Boot application is now running and ready to service requests on localhost 8080. Let's check that out. Localhost 8080. Okay. So it's not, but that's okay. Unless you change the port. So no, I didn't change the port, it's just not working. Let's make sure your app responds to the browser request. Here's how. In source main, okay, so now I need to go into this location. Source main Java com example demo. Oh my goodness, what a horrible. Okay. Source main Java com example demo. Okay. Within this, create a new folder called controller. And inside of it, have a file called hello. Okay. So inside of here, create a new folder called controller. Okay. And now create a file called hello controller. Okay. Inside of here, create a new one called this. Okay. And now I want to copy and paste this code into it. Okay. Save and rerun. Okay. So save that and rerun this. Okay. REST controller get map. Okay, so even though you may have selected the Spring initializer, it looks like you didn't make it into the pom.xml. Okay. Open up my pom.xml. This one. Okay. Go to dependencies. Okay, dependencies right there. Group ID, org spring framework boot. Yeah. Spring Boot starter. Oh, it doesn't have that web. Okay. So let me just copy and paste this. Try to figure out. Here is what I have. What is the difference? Why do I need the one with dash web. Okay. Okay. And you're right to notice the distinction. The difference between Spring Boot Starter and Spring Boot Starter Web. So this is core starter. It includes the bare minimum to get Spring Boot application up and running. Okay. Spring Boot auto configuration, logging, basic Spring context support. Okay. Not sure what that is. Like, not sure what any of these mean. That's fine. We're going to keep playing with it. All right. But it does not include anything like web servers, REST API, HTTP handling, Maven controllers. So if you only include this in your app, can start, it won't know what to do when it gets to that decorator, which is REST controller or get mapping or anything else. Okay, so this is the web application starter. It includes everything. Okay, so now I need to include, so I need to keep this one and add that new one, it looks like. Okay, so actually it's telling me to like get rid of it though. Like to go like this and just get rid of this one, it seems. Should we try that? Let's do it. Okay, and we need to tab that over. Okay, so a build was modified. Do you want to synchronize? Yes, I do. Okay, so now we need to do Maven clean install. Okay, mvn clean install. Okay. All right. Now, from my current working directory, mvnw spring dash boot run. Okay. Okay, so something happened different. Notice in the last time that I did it, it terminated. The project terminated and it gave back control to the command line. This time it's not terminated. I also see Tomcat here. So this is actually looking a lot more promising. Okay. Does it say what port we're running on? Okay. So it's the PID. We don't care about the process which things are running on. Do we have control of like the process? Hold on, that's actually kind of interesting. Started demo application with Java here with this process ID. Okay. Tomcat initialized to port 8080. Okay. So let's come here to this one. This is localhost 8080, and I am going to press go. Reload maybe? No, okay. So that's not working. I don't want to, actually, I don't care. I don't care if this process ID, I don't care. Why is it not working? That's my thing. Okay. Okay, that's a huge win. Spring Boot configuration is now fully up and running with web server initialized to handle HTTP requests. Okay, so what happened? Spring Boot started successfully. Okay, so now Tomcat started on 8080. Okay, Spring Web is working. But when I go here, it's not working. Okay. Next, test my controller. It's hello controller. What if I just go to hello? I don't know. Okay, so it is working. We are nice. Nice, nice, nice. So this is just like the JavaScript routers, the Express routers. That's so cool. And we return, okay, hello from Spring Boot. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that this is actually what we're doing. 7690HG4. Okay, let's save that. I don't know if I need to rerun this or what. Let me refresh. Okay, let me rerun it. Okay, and let me refresh. Okay, so we are getting it. Now in our JavaScript project, we had something called NodeMon, and every time we saved a change, it would auto initialize the server again. So it looks like here we don't have that. There's probably something that exists that's very similar to it, but we're not worried about that right now. We're trying to hold on a second. We did get to the point where something is working. I don't like that this is in some random location. Okay, so I am going to come here and do. I noticed that there's like a get ignore. So is get status. Let me just see. I'm thinking like to initialize this, but we already have like get ignore and get stat. Okay. So now here's a lot of things that we need to do going forward in the future. Okay. Return JSON, okay, add to a database, build a REST API, add the front end. Okay, a lot of these things are like extremely useful. Or like, not useful, but I mean like that's what I want to do. And as I was saying, with this project, I don't really know where I'm going or what I'm trying to do. So that little message right there is actually pretty helpful. Okay, so now I said that I want to at least just, should I track this or should I not? I don't know. I am seeing a .get ignore as one of the items in my folder. Does this mean it is already part of version controlled get status returns nothing. Okay. No, it doesn't return nothing. It returns this, which essentially means that we're not. Okay. Also, I have this in my downloads folder. Is there a simple way to take an entire project and move it to another one? So I'm trying to make sure that there's no like conflict, because I know that sometimes when you're building these applications, they will have like local. So like, for example, in Python, you have something which, what is it called? Virtual environments. And that virtual environment will be living in that specific like folder kind of thing. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't have any of that problem. Because I know that I just installed like a ton of stuff, and I don't know if it installed on that local area or on my global system. I don't really know where all that happened. So, okay, so the gitignore file is just plain text that tells Git which files or folders to ignore if the project is under version control. So, okay. So I would need to add this. Moving the project, you can move it to a new location folder, just close VS Code, open folder, drag the entire demo2 folder from downloads to the desired location. Okay, so there's not going to be any kind of when I move the folder, will there be any conflicts for those items I saw getting downloaded when I ran which command was it? It ran a fair amount of commands. Which one? Not this one. This one, right? Yeah. Command. And then I'm going to try to figure out like what is going on when I did that command. Okay, so now we got to the point where it actually works. That's good. Okay, so next step is to try to figure out how is it working? What did we just do? And just get an understanding of what's going on. Okay, so excellent question. You're thinking, oh, whatever. No, there will be no conflicts. When you move your folder, everything still works. Okay, cool. When you run this command, Maven downloads dependencies like Spring Boot, Jackson, Tomcat, plugins like Spring Boot, Maven plugin. These are stored in local Maven repository, which is located in global. Okay, so, yep, it's a global cache on my machine. Okay, cool. What happens when you move the project, all your source code and the XML and configs move with it. Yep. The M2 stays unchanged because it's global. That makes sense. Next time I do this, Maven will see the dependencies are already downloaded. Okay, so when I run that command of Maven Spring Boot run, it's going to go look at this location, and it's going to see that I already have all of the required dependencies like Spring Boot and Tomcat and Jackson, which I said are required here in these things here. And then it's going to not download anything because it already knows where it is. Okay. Okay, so I guess I can initialize that. Okay. So now git add git commit got the code to be able to run and service a simple and service an HTTP request. Okay. Awesome. So now, what do we want to do? I guess we come in here and try to understand what's going on. So I think I kind of get, let's figure out what this Maven is. What exactly is Maven, and how am I using it? Before we get into the actual code of this controller and demo application, let's first look at what Maven is and what its connection to Spring Boot is and what its connection to this Spring initializer is. Because there's many things that I was doing all at the same time, none of which I understood, but I was just trying to get something to work. Now it works. Next step is figure out, okay, well, what are these different components that I was just using? How do they operate together within each other? What is their relationship with each other? And then from there, try to understand what's going on. Okay, so I do see this like calm example demo. Okay. So these have to be like the parameters that calm example demo, right? Calm example demo. I don't think that's a coincidence. Okay, so let's look at what Maven is. All right, Maven is a build automation and dependency management tool for Java. Okay, what does that mean? I read it, but it didn't kind of go into my brain what that is. So I'm gonna read it again. Maven is a build automation, okay, and dependency management tool. Build automation, so building, compiling, I'm guessing, okay, and ensuring that the dependencies are there. Okay. So think of it as your project's orchestra conductor. Okay. It knows what your project is, what libraries it needs, how to compile it, how to run it, how to package it, and how to test it. Okay. Okay, so it's almost, right? It uses a file called that project object model. So that's what POM is, project object model. Okay, let me look in here and see just what's going on. So this was auto generated, okay? And this is kind of why I was a little bit hesitant to change it from demo 2 into like demo, because I was like, is this gonna break it? Because I don't know if if this is calling specifically demo 2 somewhere, is that going to make any problems? So we have dependencies. We already saw that. Properties, this is just okay, this is the Java version that we're using, okay? Uh, let's see. Snapshot version. Okay. Group ID, Spring, starter, parent. Okay, whatever. I'm not seeing anything too interesting here. So it reads this file here that we just saw. It tells Maven what my project is called, okay, that we saw that. What version Java is using, we also saw that. What dependencies, we saw that. And what plugins. Okay, I don't think we saw plugins, did we? Okay, plugins here. I don't know what a plugin is, that's going to be a question. Number 1, what is a plugin? Okay. So downloading dependencies compiles my code. So Maven actually compiles the Java code. Okay. All right. So it compiles Java files into the .class files and outputs them to target directory. What does target directory mean? And puts them in the target directory. What do you mean by this? Okay, that's my question number 2. All right. Runs or packages my app. Okay. So depending on the command, Maven compile, Maven test, Maven package, or, and this is the one that we were doing, Maven Spring Boot run, it will run my Spring Boot app. Okay, so this, I know that within Java, I'm able to do like unit testing. I think it's with JUnit. Okay. I'm curious if I do like Maven test, Maven will use, and I'm guessing it's those @ signs that I'm at. That's a third question. 3. What are the @ signs called in Java? I think it's either decorators or I just want to know the technical term. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have a unit test with JUnit. I'm going to probably need to have that in the dependencies of that POM, the project object management. Is that what it was called? No, project object model. Okay, so I'm going to probably have to have JUnit in that, the POM file. Okay, and then I will run Maven test, and that is a keyword which Maven will use to then perform tests using that JUnit software or something. I'm guessing that's what happens. So, but the one that we've seen so far is Maven Spring Boot run. It runs my Spring Boot application. So that's, yeah, we saw that. Okay. how you're using Maven, you're using Maven via the Maven wrapper. So this here, let's find it. This right here, or is it that right there? I'm seeing two things. Is a script that ensures a specific Maven version is used even if you don't have Maven installed. Okay, so runs Maven commands like this using the POM file. Okay. Why is Maven useful? You don't need to manually download or manage libraries, okay? You can build and run your app with a single command, which is what we were doing. It works the same across all machines and teams. Okay, that's pretty helpful too. It integrates with IDEs, CI/CD tools, and deployment platforms. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. And this isn't an immediate question that I need, but this is a question that I will be doing eventually in this project. What are these tools? I know IDEs. So let me just, with CI/CD tools and deployment flat. Okay. All right, let's look at this. All right. So, a plugin in Maven is like a tool or extension that performs a specific task during the build process. Okay. A plugin in Maven. So a plugin is a tool that performs a specific task during the build process. Okay. So it either compiles or runs or, okay, does something like that. All right. So what does this mean here? It compiles your Java files into .class files and puts them in the target directory. Yeah, like what is target directory? When you write Java code, you write .java files. That makes sense. Human readable source code. But the Java virtual machine doesn't run .java files. It runs compiled bytecode, okay, in class files, okay? So I wrote this hello world. Maven compiles it into target classes. Okay, so this is just where the bytecode is stored. Okay, whatever. This .class file is where the Java virtual machine actually executes it. So the target folder is Maven's default output directory for compiled code, packaged jars, and other build artifacts. Okay, kind of makes sense. It's just telling me that it is where the actual execution of the project occurs. All right, so the @ is an annotation. Okay, so it's not called a decorator, it's called an annotation. A kind of metadata that tells the compiler or framework something about your code. So we have this Spring Boot application, which we saw here. Spring Boot application tells Spring Boot to auto configure my app. Okay, so now we'll read this one, and then Once we answer those questions, we can start actually going into these two pieces of code. Okay. REST controller here is there, okay? Mapping was there, and then overwrite. Tells the compiler you're overriding a method from a superclass, okay. So let's read this one and then start investigating this code. So CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. These are tools that automate building my code, testing it, packaging it, deploying it. Okay. So GitHub Actions. This is probably the one that we will use going forward in the future, although I have heard of Jenkins, so maybe we use Jenkins, but either one of those, I guess. Deployment platforms. Okay. Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, this is containerized. I did a little bit of like Docker when I was in school, and I remember a little bit about containers. But maybe that will be a good thing for us to move forward on. Okay, so there we go. We got to the point where we are actually able to get something kind of working, and we are able to get a REST API, and we're able to service it. We're able to hit that location. Now, in the next video, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be going into the code here for this Hello controller and demo application and trying to understand everything. So first step is get something that works. We did that. It works. Now it's time for our investigation portion. So I will be taking a little bit of a break and then coming back in like probably about 20 minutes. And so if that is interesting to you, if you want to join me on this journey, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you along with with this ride. So hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you very soon.